Welcome to Worship Tutorials.
Welcome back, everybody.
You are live with Brian
and Bryce.
And we have no idea what this sounds like. I've changed our audio setup. I'm going to watch here and monitor. There we are, Bryce.
There we are.
There we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. And if you're here, welcome.
Yeah.
But I don't believe anyone is at the moment. It says nobody watching. So, you know what? Bryce and I were making videos earlier today. And please tell us when you join in how the audio is. I have a feeling it sounds okay, but very quiet.
Yeah.
And I don't understand my gear well enough to know what to do. So, to
Yet.
make it better.
But he's learning.
I actually know a lot about my gear, but I don't know what to do to make it sound louder in a live stream. I do know the answer is to spend a lot more money and get a complete Blackmagic switching system.
Yeah.
That's it. But so today we have been filming the Line 6 Helix. I'm gonna try a trick, Bryce.
Do it.
I should be able to add my phone as a camera.
Whoa.
Should I? Does this
Give it
work?
a shot. It's been a lot of fun messing with the Helix. So, Brian, you pre-ordered this back in June?
I did.
In June, and it finally came just a few days ago on Wednesday, right? Tuesday or Wednesday?
I got it Wednesday.
Yeah. Came on Wednesday. He used it, fiddled around with it, I'm sure, on Wednesday. He used it at worship rehearsal on Thursday.
Gosh, it sounded good too.
Sounded all. I wasn't there. I was jealous. I can't remember where I was on Thursday. I was at a wedding. I should know this.
You should know, yes.
But I should know because it was yesterday. But anyway, it sounded awesome.
I can't. It's gonna be difficult for me to add my phone as a shot. But here, let me see if we can do this.
Oh man, switching back and forth between the.
So there it is down there. There's the Helix. You're probably hearing really weird audio at this point, but yeah, it's cool. And so we're gonna talk about. That's a great shot.
That's a good camera.
Now we're back. Okay. So what are we gonna talk about today, Bryce?
I think it'd be cool maybe to just talk about, since you got a new piece of gear, a new toy.
Yeah.
It might be cool to talk about, buying, selling, trading, getting new stuff. New gear.
Yeah.
Why you might want to do it. Why is it that we do it so often, or we have the desire to? And maybe if you can't, using the mentality, if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't overcome the desire to always get new stuff.
Yeah.
What should you be looking for? Depending on where you play and what you play.
It is my opinion that we.
And maybe if you can't, it's a little weird.
Well, you can hear. Okay, so I just listened. I hope that's not what it sounds like.
Yeah, me too. If it sounds like that, tell us.
Please tell us.
Yeah.
Like the ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. I don't think it does.
Can you send me the link so I can...
Yeah, it's just...
So I can interact with people?
Uh-huh. So, looks like we're frozen. Oh,
actually, if we're live, I think I can go find it.
Yeah. Here we go, Bryce. I'm sure this is riveting for people watching.
So far. If you are riveted, tell us.
I sent you the link. Okay. So, I think worship guitar players, in general, spend way too much money and time and effort chasing the latest thing.
I would agree.
So,
I would have to agree. Myself included for a long time.
Yeah.
I think
That doesn't sound bad.
guitar players.
No, it sounds pretty good. Sounds very good.
Cool. All right. So we have confirmed that audio works on our end. So, a guy like James Duke or
Jeffrey Kunde. However you say his last name.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Bryce says, "What's up? What's up, Bryce?" Jeffrey or Nigel Hindroff from Hillsong.
Ah, the Droff.
Yeah. He's still the master.
He is.
He doesn't get as much love. As
No,
far as,
that dude is a
popularity.
serious player, too.
Yes.
Like a serious guitar player.
Yeah. I think these guys, they get all this gear, and a lot of company, people who run businesses aren't stupid. They give the gear to them.
Oh, yeah.
So they give them guitars, like TMG would give stuff to people. That's another topic.
You know what's funny, though? So
TMG.
we're talking about this. No, if you look at some of these guys' boards,
Yeah.
like James Duke, I mean, his board is like coveted after. I mean,
Yeah.
when he changes a pedal, he's kind of one of those guys in the worship community that when he changes a pedal, you all change your pedals.
Yes.
And myself, you know, I was that guy when I was, you know, running a big pedal board and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, James, you got a new pedal. I need to get it too.
Yeah.
And so I would like beg, borrow, and steal and try and get it. And but what's funny, so when the timeline came out,
Yeah.
James Duke got a timeline.
Did he?
He did.
Okay.
And it took the place of his DD20. What kind of made me laugh was it didn't take long for the DD20 to make its way back on the board,
did he
though.
go back to it?
Yeah.
'Cause it
and
sounded great.
It said it's one of those things where,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, can the timeline do more? Pff, infinitely more.
Yeah.
Do you need all of the infinite moreness that it can do? Probably not.
Probably not.
But, you know, being a guy who had a timeline for a while, man, it was so funny. Brian, I'm going to tell you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So,
Hit me.
when I decided to get rid of all my, you know, analog gear on my, you know, my pedal board and my amp and go towards the Pod HD500X, which I still currently have. And I did that because of venue restrictions, you know,
Right.
where we were having church is I didn't have a place for an amp. It
Yeah.
didn't make any sense to have it.
Sure.
So, you know, I bit the bullet, so to speak, and went towards the Pod. And I remember when I was, you know, parting everything out, and I'd confirmed the trade on Gear Talk Classifieds on
Yeah.
Facebook. And the funny thing is I traded the timeline for the Pod. Like
Straight up? That's probably
traded some dude in town for it straight up.
nice.
If you know the reference, comment below. But anyway, and I remember sitting there at my desk
Posted on the Facebook.
in my office. I remember sitting there, and I'm holding this timeline, and it's already confirmed, and I wasn't about to back out. And I was holding my pedal in my hands, and I'm staring at it, and I said out loud, I can't remember if I was alone or not. Maybe Nick was there, but I said this out loud. If I trade this, it's over.
It's done.
It's over. I still to this day don't know what I meant by that. Like, what was over? What is it?
You're the Godfather.
Yeah, well, so
You were.
I was in another life. To this day, I still get friends who will text me or
Yeah.
contact me somehow. What do I think about this, that, or the other?
Yeah.
And they'll still send me pictures of the new stuff they're getting, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm still rocking the Pod.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yeah, it's just funny, like we get so caught up on it.
We do.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It is
It
a
is
lot of
fun.
fun. It is a lot of fun.
So hey, I want to say hey to Jeremy and Emmanuel and King Bacchus.
Emmanuel, God with us.
God with us. You have a significant name.
You do.
We've got hello from Malaysia.
Man.
Tanzania. Oh, it's Malaysia.
Tanzania.
Louisiana. Franklin says, what's a good guitar on a budget? Well, we are talking gear.
We said a good acoustic guitar.
We answered this question.
We did, and it's I'm just gonna give it to you quick. We all play Martin for the most part, and we're not endorsed at all, although that would be cool.
Martin.
But in our opinion, Martin makes some of the best budget guitars, and the model that we all really like because we've all played it is the Martin 000
DX series, the X.
like the X. The 000 X1AE or something like that. It's the 000 model that they make in a natural
That's exactly
finish.
what it is. X1AE.
Yeah, the
I can't believe
X1AE.
you remember that.
Yeah, well, I remember a lot of useless things.
They're about $500.
Yeah, about 500. New. What are they new? Let's just.
$569.
So new they're $569. So used you're gonna find them for well under $500, and they sound great, man, and they feel awesome. So if you're looking for a good acoustic electric guitar to get into and lead worship with, man, that's the one.
I would caution you not to go much cheaper
on
an acoustic. And if that sounds like a lot of money, get a job, save money.
If that sounds like a lot of money, get a job.
Save some money.
We're back to being finance tutorials again.
I would love to be finance tutorials because I have some strong feelings about it.
You do.
Especially when it comes to gear.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you this, if you watch worship tutorials videos, you see a lot of cool gear. Look at that cup.
Look at this.
Drink the cup,
So,
Bryce.
I'm not drinking the cup. Drink from the cup.
you see a lot of really, really cool gear. The Agape amp. You're about to see a lot of Line 6 Helix stuff.
Yes.
Because it's awesome.
Oh, man. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it.
You see a lot of really cool guitars, like the MJT, the Reverend. I got, the Martin D35. I mean, lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, that's not mine, by the way.
Understand. It's all kind of mine.
It is all yours.
Yeah. Understand that I am 36 years old. I started playing
36 years young, man.
Yeah. I started playing 20 years ago, and I have slowly accumulated all of this. Now I am you could call me a business owner, and gear is part of what I do for that.
Yeah.
And so
it's like if you're a gym owner, you buy weights.
Yeah. It's like
same thing.
Yeah. And so I feel very strongly that I always go one, and I do this. I'm gonna stop doing that. I feel strongly that you should never go into debt. Yeah. That most of the time, high-end gear, no one's gonna know the difference between high-end gear and non-high-end gear.
Yeah.
In your congregation.
Yeah. They might know the difference between really low-end gear and really high-end gear.
Right. Yeah. Like the Spider.
Like the Spider 2.
Playing a Line 6 Spider 2, like I did my first amp.
Maybe you should.
In 1998, 9?
With the Harvest Crew. With the band formerly known as the Harvest Crew, but to me and to all of you, forever known as the Harvest Crew.
He is right. Yeah, so...
Ryan is an international harvester.
I'm an international harvester. I am from Oklahoma, so I know that song.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people saying, hey, what advice do you have for worship leading? We got that question last time too, Joyce.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking, we got hello from California, South America.
Colombia.
Holy cow.
Man, this is awesome. Hey, guys.
What is a good amp for a budget?
Ooh.
So we are talking gear. So Emily, Joyce.
Was it Joyce or
Emily?
Eduardo Hernandez. Good
Joyce,
amp for a budget.
Joyce asked about worship leading. We might hit that in a little bit. We're talking gear right now. So a good amp for a budget.
Well, let's define a budget. Eduardo, if you're watching this, comment below what you think a budget would be, because that's very subjective.
Right.
But to me, a good amp... No, actually, I don't think it is, because I think there's kind of like a baseline standard for what a good amp is.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the most toured with tube amp in the world, in production, fact, Fender Hot Rod Deluxe.
I was gonna say,
it's the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, not even the DeVille. So it's the 112, and they range used from... I mean, I've seen them for under $400.
You know, I'm gonna name drop someone who uses
here we go.
Fender Hot Rod Deluxe live. Coldplay.
Gosh.
They do. The guy uses a hot rod.
I mean, so there it is.
And so, and there's a reason he doesn't record with them. I was watching an interview on him, but he uses it because it sounds great, and no one's gonna know the difference in his live show between the hot rod and whatever crazy expensive thing he's recording with. And if it breaks down, you can
everywhere.
get one in every city.
You can walk into any guitar center, they're going to have them. Joe Bonamassa. If you don't know who Joe Bonamassa is, he is the master of the blues.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in the opinion of many. But if you look at his pedal board now, it's changed a little bit now. But first of all,
boss.
the man doesn't play many pedals, but he does run 4 amps.
Oh my gosh.
And he's always running 2 at one time.
That's crazy.
So let that be, let that stand on its own. But for the longest time, at least, and I'm sure still now, he plays stock standard tube screamers to kick it, into extra overdrive. And in an interview, he said why. It's because, on the road, gear just gets beat up. It's what happens.
Yeah.
And
it breaks.
Yeah, it's going to break down.
Yeah.
But when it does, how hard do you want it to be to replace?
Yeah.
Not very. Walk into Guitar Center,
Yeah.
drop around $100, get a new one.
That's if you're a touring musician.
If you're a touring musician, but even at church, if you
Yeah.
move your stuff around a lot,
It's gonna break.
Eventually, just not as quickly. But yeah,
So-
Hot Rod Deluxe from Fender.
Hot Rod Deluxe, they're loud. So
They are. The Fender Blues Junior.
The Blues Junior
sounds a little
great
different,
option.
but it is a great option. It's 15 watts.
And you get it used for what?
Honestly, probably around the same price.
$300?
$300 to $400. That's what's funny to me is the Blues Junior and the Hot Rod Deluxe. Even though it's a big gap in in wattage and in features and panel controls, not a big gap in price.
Right.
So.
But the Hot Rod is 40 watts, right?
Yeah, it
is.
is.
It 212?
It's 112.
112.
It's loud.
It is super loud.
Man, Fender, if you guys came out with the Hot Rod that was 25 watts, like a bridge between but had all the controls that the Hot Rod Deluxe had, that's a kicking amp that I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
Because like anything, if you swap out the speaker, totally different sound.
Yeah.
If you put, 12AX7s in it or whatever, and you rebias it, totally different sound.
Yeah. If you like the British side of things, like Vox,
AC-15,
you can get an AC-15. I've played through the new AC-10, and it's cool. I really
does
like
it have
it.
a 12-inch speaker in it though?
Yeah.
It does. Mm-hmm. Okay, see that's the big.
It sounds a little different. I like it. I like it a little better than the 15.
Didn't
just
we
from my
both
little
play
experience.
through it? Were we at Guitar Center play through it? Yeah, I actually was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
With that amp.
Yeah, it was cool.
And that's like what, $350?
Yeah, something.
It's
like
in the
that.
ballpark. Yeah.
I would venture to say.
$500 between $300 and $500. You got the AC-10 from Vox.
Yeah.
The Blues Junior from Fender and the Hot Rod Deluxe from Fender.
If you're looking for a great amp, you can spend less and get a less than great amp. I would go for that price point.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of questions while we're
chatting
about amps. Most of them about worship leading.
Your thoughts on having an unsaved musician? Ooh, that's a good one. You want to talk about this one?
Yeah.
So Aaron Dalton says, quick question from one worship leader to another. What are your thoughts on having an unsaved musician on your worship team? What about a musician who was once saved but is drifting away?
So it's easier to see.
So I'll give you my opinion, and then again I'll pull from a very seasoned, what we would consider professional worship leader's opinion that we got to hang out with recently. In my opinion, I wouldn't ever let that person lead a song. Like I wouldn't, if they're a vocalist, I might not let them sing something. But as far as a musician, if it's a bass player, guitar player, drummer, keys player, especially if they're a keys player. Desperate. No, I'm just kidding. I would let them play, because if they want to play, so if they sought you out, and they want to join your team, I think, man, that is such an opportunity to reach out to them, because your worship teams should be a pretty tight-knit community. Mm-hmm. I know the teams that I build and that Brian builds. At our church, we have core values, and that core is an acronym, and the first one is community. Yeah. And we really build that on our teams, and our teams, they love each other. Yeah. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
and
they're like small groups.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't take the place of it, but they kind of become that. Yeah. And man, to expose somebody to that kind of community, around music, because musicians relate to other musicians. And so to give them a positive environment to do that, absolutely. But Todd Fields from North Point Community Church.
The man knows a few things.
He's been around. He said they do use unsaved musicians. Mm-hmm. Again, not leading songs, right? But musicians. And he said that and it varies by person, but they're on a track. Yeah. And there's a deadline. You want to see some progress in them. Obviously, you want to see them asking questions, engaging a little bit more in conversation.
I personally don't think that this is a hard yes or no answer. I absolutely think that it needs to be. You need to have conversations with these people, and you need to gauge where they are. And I'd say if you find a person and it becomes clear to you that they want a stage to play on, maybe that's not for them. But if you find a person and they say, and this is what Todd shared with us, this is not my idea, this is what he said. If they're there's something different about this place and I like being around here, then
that's a sign.
Then you absolutely can use that as a tool to witness to somebody, to share the gospel with them. Because that's what the gospel does to us. It changes us, and it creates something in us that other people hopefully gravitate to. Yeah. Lost people gravitated to Jesus all the time, and I would hope that would be the same on our teams.
Yeah. Well, Saint Francis of, not to get all theological and historical, but Saint Francis of Assisi, or Assisi, however you say it, he said, there's a famous quote: "Preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words."
I like that quote.
So, I mean, well, man, how true is that? So they're attracted to the environment, and if they are, absolutely, it's an opportunity to witness to them with who you are.
Yeah. I would say my last thought on this,
and then we'll move on,
is talk to your senior pastor about it, and if they have thoughts one way or the other, you should honor what they believe, because they're the senior pastor. But anyway, you have to submit to the leadership and the vision of your church.
Very much so.
Okay, how does one become a music ministry, Bryce? I have a lot of thoughts when I read that question. I don't know how to tackle it because there's no context. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by music ministry.
Yeah, how do you join How do you join a music ministry?
I would say one of the best ways to become part of a music ministry is to become involved in the worship team in your church. But I think you're probably talking more about how do I make a living doing music. And I think that's very difficult. Very difficult.
Oh, gosh.
Like, do you want to be a traveling musician? That kind of a thing that goes to churches and does a program. I don't know. I think that'd be really hard.
Very difficult.
You
gotta really be a go-getter.
I think you used to be able to do that kind of thing more than you can these days. I would encourage you to be involved in the worship team in your church and just plug in there. And God will open doors. If that's what God wants for you, He'll open doors. That's what God did for me with worship tutorials. This is not a music ministry necessarily, but it's definitely something that I never thought would happen. And it's sort of grown into something. And it's not my doing, it's what God has done. God has done through me. I've been faithful, but I'll try to be faithful. Peter Griffin asks, what's this all about, Bryce? I
don't know.
This is a channel called Worship Tutorials, where we equip churches and musicians to better lead worship in their churches with more excellence. And this is a live stream from said channel, and we are answering your questions, Peter. So fire away, brother.
I'll give a quick answer because this is an easy question. So Edward McDonald asked, he said, looking to upgrade my bass pickups. So there's a brand that I really, really like. They're called Bartoloni. Look them up. And I've heard them in several different bass guitars. And there's actually a local builder here in the North Carolina area out of Greensboro. I think they're called Roscoe Guitars. One of our bass players uses it, Steve Garrett, if you know.
Yeah.
Steve Garrett.
I'm just banning people over here, Bryce.
It's one of the most beautiful basses I've ever seen, Roscoe Guitars. But it has Bartoloni pickups in it, and it sounds phenomenal. Another guy at our church has a sweet bass guitar with Bartoloni pickups. Actually, two other guys do. I've just been really impressed with them in a couple different body styles. So Bartoloni. Can't remember how to spell it. It's Italian. Google it. It'll probably come up.
Yeah. If you want to type really stupid comments and waste our time, I will be happy to ban you. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
You might be able to see them. I don't know. Maybe they go away. Dude, Robert Valentin. Did I say that right? I watched this channel for a while now. I live 5 minutes from Garner. Garner is where I personally lead worship.
How cool is that? The world gets smaller and smaller.
I never knew you led worship in a church at Garner. Small world, yes sir. Been playing my worship team since 15. I'm 21. Robert,
awesome,
let's have lunch together.
Dude, that would be cool.
That would be fun. It sounds like you're plugged into a church, so I would absolutely not try and steal you away from that church that you're plugged into, but it'd be cool to meet you face to face. And that actually brings up another point. Someone else asked, where was this? Where was it?
I don't know. What is it?
It was about playing in other churches that you're not your home church.
Oh.
Someone asked a question about playing on the worship team in a church that's not your home church. I have some thoughts. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I definitely think you should be honest and open with your leadership, whether it's a worship leader.
Well, and it's like, are you trying to play different churches locally?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about when you go out of town, and you're looking for a place to play? Because I'm with you. I think you should be honest with your leadership. Mm-hmm. And, we are all on the same team. But I'll tell you one thing I really appreciate as a worship leader is consistency from people.
Yeah.
And even if who asked that question?
I don't remember. I just remember it was asked, and I thought it was a good question.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Even if your consistency is saying, hey, I'll play once or twice a month.
I think it was Kane Axel Sawada.
Okay.
I probably butchered that name.
Kane. So even if your consistency is saying, hey, I'll commit to playing, once a month or twice a month with you on these weekends. The other weekends I'd like to get around and play at other churches, but I'm still committed to you.
Yeah.
I think that's an honest conversation to have.
I have a drummer that plays at my campus, and he plays it with me once a month. He plays with one of our other campus once a month, and then he plays at another church once a month. And he's involved in all the churches, and all the worship leaders sort of know what's going on, and we're all cool with it.
And he's great. Great guy.
Awesome.
And he always comes ready.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Yes. Someone asked how we met. Shane Tyson.
How you and I met?
Yeah.
Well, Shane, that's a very easy question to answer.
At a smoky bar.
Yeah, smoky bar, and it was dark, dimly lit.
Where are we going with this?
I have no idea, but the story is unfolding before us. But, so Brian was already at New Hope Church. We are worship leaders at the same church, but at different campuses.
Yep.
And Brian was already on staff, and I had come out to interview and audition 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, and met Brian, and he actually sat in on my last interview before I flew back home.
I did.
You did.
That was in the old campus.
And I remember a couple of the questions you asked me.
What were they good?
Not your best. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. They were good. They were great questions. And
that's like my first time to ever be involved in an interview.
Yeah,
One of them.
I could tell you felt like, man,
Am I where I'm supposed to be?
climbing my way to the top.
I got the call. I got the nod.
Yeah.
They want me to ask a question
Suit
in an
up.
interview.
Well, grab your helmet.
Put me in, coach.
But I'm ready. But anyway, and so that's where Brian and I met, and I, shortly after that came on staff. And my first Sunday on staff playing at New Hope Church as a staff person was actually at the Garner campus with Brian Wall.
That's right.
Yeah, and you tossed me.
Was that the CD release party?
It was, and you tossed
August
me.
11.
August 11 of 2013.
That's
And you tossed me a
Magnify.
Yeah, you're like, hey Bryce, do you want to sing Magnify? So I came on staff, and New Hope was releasing this, first album, and songs I'd heard, many I hadn't, and versions of them I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
And one song I had never heard before in my life. And
Brian's had.
That day, Brian's like,
awesome.
It is a great song. Brian's like, Bryce, you should lead this. Like, you'd be great at this.
Do you want the inside scoop on that?
I knew you just didn't want to lead it.
Because I don't know that I can.
Bryce, you should lead. You could lead this.
Here's a pro tip.
Pro tip.
When you got
Hashtag pro
when you
tips.
have a brand new hire on his first day, on his first weekend,
Yeah.
and you have a song that say it's like gospel funk.
Oh, which this is.
Here, let's demonstrate. It's in C sharp.
It is.
What? Whoa, magnify the Lord with me. Let us glorify, 'cause He's worthy.
Oh, you know.
The Lord is good, won't you taste and see? Yeah. So you can leave your worries at the door, 'cause we're gonna magnify the Lord. Boom, boom, boom. You need a bass player for that part.
Yeah. Well, you don't, because we just covered it vocally.
So here's two things that you might have noticed. Well, I've grown as a musician.
You have, and a vocalist.
Because I could lead that.
Proud of you.
But that day I didn't feel comfortable with it. So I threw it on Bryce.
Yeah.
And Bryce killed it.
Yeah.
All right.
As in it was, like, terrible.
No, it was good.
No,
People loved it. Gosh, I got to do that. So that's how we met. We worked for the same church. And we became good friends. Peter Griffin asked a great question. What do you prefer?
yeah, Telecasters or
Telecaster,
Strats?
Strat. Why don't we demonstrate what he's talking about? Telecaster?
Strat-ish. It's
Strat style?
It's actually very stratty. It's 3 pickups,
Yeah.
five-way blade.
3 single coils. Yeah.
3 single coils. Thank you. So I'll say this: for the longest time,
My answer is yes.
yeah, yes, both if you can. Telecasters fit a lot more places than a Strat
If I were
does.
going to pick one, I'd pick
If I was
that
gonna
one.
pick one, I'd pick a Tele. Yeah. Pains me to say.
Strats are awesome.
Gosh, man.
But Telecaster, in my opinion, is the greatest guitar ever made.
It's one of the most versatile guitars ever made. That's a very
personal thing. It does do a lot of different sounds. It'll do rock, it'll do jazz, it'll do blues,
I'll say this, you've seen it in every genre of music. Yeah. You've seen it in every genre of music guitar player.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys, for the questions. This is fun.
This is a lot of fun.
Especially when we get to sing Magnify the Lord. Is it better to play different instruments or stick to just one?
That depends. Are you really good at one, or are you really good at multiple?
I would make it a point to become proficient in multiple.
Yeah. Or at least one. Become proficient at least one. And then move on to another one.
Yeah. I had a question, where did I get this canvas?
Aha.
The answer is Canvas on Demand. And we know the guy who started that company.
Yeah.
No longer owns it, but Canvas on Demand here in Raleigh. Here's a good question for me. Is worship tutorials, Jason says, is worship tutorials connected to New Hope Church or affiliated with, I would say, or is it a separate entity? It's definitely separate. Although everyone you see in the videos is a staff member at New Hope Church.
Literally everyone.
Everyone. So so far who you've seen is myself, Bryce, Bradford, Mitchell. Fuller has made an appearance in the videos. Fuller's like our boss, basically. Yeah. He's in leadership over us as the global worship arts pastor. Who else have we seen? Nick is no longer employed at New Hope. Makes us sad, but he's moved on. Yeah, it was not. He didn't die. He moved on like that. Yeah. He's moved since. And it wasn't like a nasty thing or anything. It was a good transition. Yeah. We miss Nick. So very much so. Sadly, I'm afraid I have to make this announcement that Bryce, wait. Oh man. It's still here. I got it like on tap. Maybe I can't. Don't. I can't do it. Don't. Like this. Rick Squire has died. You should take that off immediately. Dude, my 2-year-old son loves it. I put that on and he laughs and laughs. That's the Rick Squire. It is. Wig that Nick used to wear. And if Nick comes back to visit, maybe we'll shoot like 15 Rick Squire videos. Nick and I at one point wanted to make a documentary movie. No, it'd be more of a rockumentary. Yeah. Okay. Kevin Cooper asks, do you prefer live amps or straight-in digital modeling? The answer to that is also yes. Yes. So, it's hard to emulate, and I'll tell you. Here, let's just demonstrate what we've got here. We've been staring at this all day. Oh, I'm out of. I don't need this plugged in. Yeah, that's true. This is Line 6 Helix. I have wig hairs all over me. This is a brand new modeling interface from Line 6. It sounds phenomenal. It does. We've been playing it. We did a long video demonstrating. Extremely long. Like 45 minutes of like, we called it our first impressions and a little bit of a review and some tone samples. This thing, if you can afford one of these. The feel. So the big difference for me between, because you're never really standing right next to your amp when you're playing live. Yeah. So, with that out the window, you're just kind of hearing it and feeling it in the house. Until this, now I've never played the Kemper or the Fractal Axe Effects, and I know those are incredible. Mm-hmm. But until this, I'd never felt like it was as responsive as playing an amp. So for the longest time, I would have just said, like, instantly, amp. Get an amp. Get an amp. But now with this, it's just so realistic. When you play it, like it like almost pushes back. You know what I mean? And so, the drive sounds in it. That was always the big thing. Was always like a weak spot. Yeah. They fixed it. Delays and reverbs have always really been digital. Yeah. So it sounds great. And I'll say if you have an amp that you just love the sound of, it's like your sound, and you have pedals. That's what you should use. Yeah. And if you're comfortable with a pedal board, I'll also say this. You should go with it. Play what makes you want to play. Yes. Like, that's so big. The worst thing that can happen for a musician is boredom. Like your stuff is, your gear is, it's your tools, and you should be inspired to pick them up and create something. Yeah. And so I know, like, sometimes
and this is kind of au contraire to one of the questions we answered earlier about, getting new stuff. But sometimes getting something new is what inspires you again. Or learning a new song.
Yes.
Learning a new lick.
Learning a new technique.
Yeah, learning a new technique. It opens up learning something about music theory that you didn't know before. That opens up a new world.
I would say this: if you have like XYZ version of Tube Screamer, and you get ZYX version of Tube Screamer, it's probably not going to inspire you.
No.
But if you get a tremolo, and you've never used tremolo before, and you watch some videos about how to use it, and listen to some songs that use it, that could be very inspiring.
Yeah.
Learn a new technique, a new trick, a new pedal.
So whatever you do, don't buy a chorus pedal.
Unless you have a reverb pedal that has an effects loop or a delay like a Panther, and then put it in to modulate your delay.
Oh
reverb.
man, but not just a straight up chorus pedal.
But that's a pretty pro setup.
Pretty.
If you're running a pedal in the effects loop of another pedal,
you've arrived at a new echelon of worship. Right. Shane Tyson, what does my tattoo say? So,
cool.
Quickly, So it's on one on each arm, but I look at it as one piece. This one says sola gratia. This one says sola fide, and it's Latin for grace alone and faith alone. Martin Luther, if you look him up, he has 5 solae. You can Wikipedia it, but it's basically grace alone, faith alone, glory to God alone, Scripture alone, and Christ alone. And I'm a big fan of, we are saved by grace through faith. And I just wanted to, kind of as a seal, put it upon my body. And
as a seal upon my arm. That's a line from a Jesus Culture song.
It is. And it's a great conversation starter. So that's why I didn't get it in English.
Let's start a conversation.
It doesn't look nearly as cool in English.
No.
As this, so.
What do you think about Leviticus 19:28, Bryce?
About not getting a tattoo.
Do not
Why don't you read it out loud,
dead, or do not put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the all caps Lord.
How are you gonna throw me under the bus like that?
Just kidding.
Actually, I'd like to research the context of that because I want to. I wonder because totally pulled out of context, and I've not researched this, but I could do some exegesis on it. That's a good Christian. A good Christian education word for you, exegesis. But I'd be curious if they were referring to people who were tattooing marks of other religions and other gods on their bodies. Yeah. Because if he says, "I am the Lord," sometimes that was.
And it also comes in a verse about cutting yourself.
Yeah. So which is asceticism and all that kind of stuff. So I would be, which is the prophets of Baal would do that. So. When you had,
my guess too is that it's in reference to idol worship.
Exactly. So.
I totally am with you. I'm sorry I had to go there.
No, it's okay. I went right there with you.
My phone is locked up, so I'm going to look at comments over here. We did have another one that I thought was an interesting comment. Where did that go?
Way to mark your arms for the cool factor. There was a little bit of that going on. I was like, where do I want to put these things? Yeah. My arms seemed like a good logical place.
We did get asked, where's Brad? Where's Bradford? Bradford's, I asked him to come over.
He wimped out, man.
I don't know where he is.
He wimped out.
He told me, but I can't remember.
He
had a function that he had to go to.
Yeah, no, it was a wimpy function. We were like, Bradford, you should join this live stream. And he's like, I don't know, bro.
That's not what he said.
And we were like...
We're not going to I'll throw you under the bus because you're here. Then you can defend yourself. But I don't want to throw Bradford under the bus.
Bradford's giant. He doesn't...
He's giant.
Gigantor's not here.
Oh, we miss Bradford. Hey, you guys should check out the latest video I posted where Bradford did some electric guitar.
That dude's a good player.
Of the song. We're gonna do more of those. Jay, Kane asked this question earlier. How can you increase the range of your vocal to sing high songs?
So the answer is it actually can be done. Yeah. To what extent?
I have experienced it.
To what extent it actually, so your vocal cords, I know just enough to be dangerous, so don't take this as gospel, but everyone's vocal cords are like different thicknesses. And I know that impacts it. You can increase your vocal range. I don't know to what extent. For each person it's different. But I'm not going to tell you how because I don't really know. I know a really great vocal coach would be able to kind of get you going that direction. Just in the same way, how can I become a better guitar player?
Find a good teacher.
Find a good teacher and practice.
I would say the same. Find a good vocal coach. Take vocal lessons. It's a great. If you're a vocalist, if you sing, if you lead worship, it's almost. I cannot recommend that enough. And you don't have to take a bunch because you'll learn techniques. I've taken some vocal lessons, and I've learned a lot of it has to do with breathing. One thing that really encouraged me, that opened my eyes, that my vocal coach told me was, if you can hit a note once, you can hit it every time. Mm-hmm. And you have to practice, and he gave me some techniques, and you have to learn. So he suggested, sing the song where you hit the note. And when you hit the note, pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your posture. Pay attention to your diaphragm. Pay attention to your throat. Pay attention to the roof of your mouth. Mm-hmm. What muscles are you flexing? What are you relaxed? And then he gave me some pointers like, you should relax these muscles, and because it's your vocal, it's all muscle. You're all controlling your body with using your muscular system. I feel like I'm rambling. I was a biology major.
Now you're really rambling.
So I'm talking about muscles. But pay attention and practice. You just have to practice over and over and over. My personal experience is singing a lot and learning proper techniques for breathing has helped me increase my range. It's probably less increasing my range, but more my consistency
with
hitting certain notes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't need any help with singing higher. I need help with singing lower.
That often is true, because it takes a lot of support to sing low.
It does. And to sound good, yeah. I like this question just because it always reminds me of where I've come from. Cheyenne Sills, what got you into music?
Yeah.
My family, but what got me into guitar was my dad. I come from a family of musicians. Both my parents are great singers. My mom was a great piano player. She doesn't play anymore, but my dad, phenomenal jazz musician.
Really?
Saxophone player, just unreal. Seriously unreal. He grew up in Detroit in the 60s and 70s, and
that's cool.
My grandma, I didn't know this until after she passed away, but my grandma was really big in the jazz scene there. She'd write and sing with local musicians, and they'd go to jazz clubs, and that's where my dad learned to play saxophone. So my grandma would let him tag along, and he'd learn saxophone from a very young age, elementary school, from gigging jazz musicians. And but then my dad learned to play guitar when he was in junior high and high school, and he played when I was little. And what little boy doesn't want to be like his dad, especially when he plays guitar and breaks bricks with his hands.
I have a little boy, and I play guitar, and he wants to play guitar real bad.
Exactly. So that's what got me into music was my family.
When I was young, I'd say maybe 8th, 9th grader, I participated in church in a my last name is a wall trombone quartet. Bryce, have I told you this story?
Oh, I've heard. 4 generations of walls.
It's actually 3.
Well, whatever. 3 generations of walls in harmony on trombone.
I like to say 4. It makes it sound better.
It does.
My grandfather played the trombone.
This is just so great.
Well, it was a low point for me. I shouldn't say that. Because I don't think it was a low point for my grandfather. He played trombone.
I don't think it was.
My dad played the trombone. I played the trombone, and my brother played the trombone. And together, we played a song in church. I have no idea what song it was. I immediately wished it was over as soon as I got on the stage.
I hope it was Because He Lives. 4-part. Just As I Am.
Oh, yeah.
So we have this ongoing joke. This is a good insight into the psyche of Bryce and Brian in our sense of humor. So there's this awesome hymn, Just As I Am. I don't know who wrote it originally, but it's great. And Daniel Doss did a really cool cover of it, modernized it. And I think he wrote a chorus or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you take me.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah, that's his.
But so look that up if you're looking for a cool way to bring in a hymn to a contemporary service. It's awesome. Daniel Doss. But Brian can sing pretty low. Yeah. And most great, tenors and bass singers, it's really in your chest and it just vibrates everything around you. And we were joking about how funny would it be to be in line
at the grocery store.
At the grocery store, or you're at some department store, and you're just standing there behind somebody, unsuspecting, and you're maybe awkwardly close to them, and then all of a sudden you just hear.
I'm laughing so I can't do it. You gotta get real deep.
You just gotta get really.
Yeah, vibrato.
Yeah, maybe with your hands in your pockets,
Yeah.
and you're just.
Just so completely unassuming.
Yeah.
You know, like.
You don't. This is so uncomfortable.
It's very
But like, how
uncomfortable.
funny would that be? So we just find the awkward situational proximity humor
Yeah.
very funny. Very funny to us.
Hey, we have a question and an answer happening at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, look how awkward that is.
That's out there on the
We
internet.
just witnessed me. I'd rather take that back. Jonathan Thomas said he wanted Brad for the awkward comedy.
I saw that.
You don't need Brad. I'm gonna tell you right now. We can do awkward comedy too.
You just saw it.
Happy High School says, how do we get youth group congregation engagement? Any tips for leading youth group worship? And J Max Man Zoom, I don't know, said buy them a pizza, and that is a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Buy them food. I'd say too. That's a good question. I've led some youth worship lately.
I've led a lot. You have lately though. Yeah,
Well, go ahead.
for it. So
Be excited. Jump.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's all that. So the biggest thing I found, so I was a student worship leader for 3 years before coming to New Hope.
Yeah.
And I led an adult worship too, but that was, one of my main roles. And the biggest thing I found was they need to know you. So if you live only on the stage and in the green room and in the production booth and you're never hanging out with them, I mean, I'm not saying like it's impossible, but like good luck.
Yeah.
You need to be engaging. They need to be comfortable with you. They need to know you as a leader, not just as a musician on stage. And so, I'm not saying you're not, but that's a big stepping stone right there in and of itself, I would say. Now you're the worship leader at your campus. They know you.
Yeah.
And so that helps a lot. And there are other people in the band with you, who engage with them.
Yeah. I think
But quality,
I saw someone ask a question somewhere a while ago about how to get kids to like really engage and really reverent a whole set of like really reverent songs.
No.
And if you're watching this, here's my advice for that. I would not even attempt that because you're just gonna get crickets. People with their hands in their pockets. Actually, no, they're on their phones, staring at you. So I think you need to be open with hype and excitement.
Yeah.
With kids as much as you can. Whether it's a video, if you have someone crazy in your group that can get on the stage and just jump and yell and be exciting, and then do a big song, and then use that to lead into a moment that's a little more tender.
Yeah.
But talk to them and just be honest. Don't stand there and freeze on stage. And I know a lot of people, if you're not experienced as a worship leader, that's hard to do.
Really
to
hard.
talk. And that's definitely an art, and we should do a whole video series about it. But just be honest with them and tell them the truth. Tell them God loves them, and because kids are pulled in so many, all of us, but kids are, man, there's so many influences on kids' lives these days that are not true, and all of them are not fulfilling, and they just want. Kids just want to be loved, and they want to be accepted, and they want to be a part of something important.
Yeah.
And just let them know that they are, and they can be, and then sing a song.
And somebody actually did say something that I found works no matter what age, of congregation you're leading for. Somebody said, be funny and comedic, but very worshipful. I couldn't agree more. Humor, much like sitting down for a meal, breaks through so many walls. If you can be, appropriate with your humor and just throw a little zinger in there, and it can be something so simple. But I found, man, if you can make somebody laugh, you have their attention, even if it's just for a second.
Yeah.
And then you can hit them.
Through.
Then you can hit them with truth, like Brian said, and then lead them into a moment, lead them into a song. Mm-hmm. So yeah, all those things, and just figuring out what works for your group.
Oh, here we go. Kane asks, how to make an effect close to each other. For an example, your effect. I don't know what you mean by effect. I think you're talking about going from a song in the key of A to a different key, like the key of F. I have a great tool for you to use. It's called pads.
It does work,
/pads.
man. We use it.
You just crossfade those suckers. you show someone how to do it, and there's tons of videos teaching you how to do it. They're inexpensive. You get every key. It's like a sound bed, and you can just play the A, and then you can swell in the 1 and F, and off you go. Happy High School says you just made my day. That's on you, Bryce.
I don't know about that.
Alright, guys, it's 5:24 p.m. where we live.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to cut it off pretty soon. And funny and comedic, but very worshipful. That's what they said.
No, I mean, it's good, though.
Yeah.
I think it's accurate.
Any tips for youth conference? Hey, do funny skits. I mean, obviously build in moments of worship.
Having great MCs.
Gosh, yes. I think about a conference, you're creating moments. So don't think about it like we're gonna do this is our program. Think about it like you're creating this moment and this moment, and how do you lead into those moments, and how do you, because you're leading those people there.
So real quick short story. I was hanging out with a guy from the church who writes screenplays, and
that's cool.
He educated me on something today, and he said every movie, by and large, has 15 key points in the movie. 15
I didn't know that.
moments. And then everything else in between is working up to them.
Yeah.
And so, the opening scene of a movie is a moment. The opening element of your youth conference is a moment.
Yeah.
Make it good.
It better be good.
Make it good. So figure out what
the best thing you got.
Figure out what your moments are, like whether it's your opening act or this big song you're hoping to get everybody to catch on to, or a message is a moment, all that kind of stuff, a video element, and then figure out how to get between them. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, I thought so. Not because it's me. But
Kane says, "How can I change my guitar effects?" You use one of these cables.
Get a little cable and you
plug
between
one
them,
into the other,
and then you get another cable.
I don't know if that's what you're asking. Yeah, I know.
Little.
I can't whistle, so thank you.
You can't whistle?
No, I can't.
That's it. I'm starting a page. I'm starting a YouTube channel called Whistle Tutorials.
Dude.
And you better subscribe.
You'll make millions.
You better subscribe.
From me.
Come in.
I'd love to learn how to whistle.
Yeah.
Someone said they thought I dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, I saw that.
I did not.
Not the case.
Not the case.
Logan Duran, are you going to do a tutorial on Forever Electric? A tutorial, like we did a play video.
I talked to Bradford. We're planning to do some of this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, to teach how to do what he
Happy
did.
High School. I can't whistle either. It's okay. I'm sure there's plenty.
We are of one accord.
There's plenty of you people out there.
Like the disciples.
Yeah. I'm left-handed. There's not many of us either, so. All right. Well.
Okay, guys, I think that's going to be it. Bryce and I both have to run.
Yep.
Where is Rick Squire,
well,
the truth seeker? We're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Rick Squire's left the building.
Sensitive.
No, Nick took
sensitive information.
Nick has taken a different position. So Nick was Rick Squire. And hopefully Nick can come visit and we can do a whole bunch of Rick Squire videos.
Yeah.
We're all still good friends. All right. Thank you guys for watching. It's been fun.
Lots of fun.
We'll probably try and do more of these, maybe consistently on Fridays.
Yeah.
It'll be a good day. We can hang out together. I'm going to try and get better technology in pocket so we can do more camera angles. Like, we have a Line 6 Helix, and we really wanted to play it for you, but I couldn't get that figured out. I was having audio issues.
Big time.
So we just did what we could. So, see you guys.
See you guys.
From all over the world. It's been cool. Bye. Now there's this awkward moment. We're still alive. Or we're still alive
yeah.
until we cut this off. Okay, cutting off in 3, 2...